All right, hello there, folks. So to get started this week, we're going to talk a little bit about pattern. We're going to talk a lot about texture, but we're going to kind of over what those things are really quickly. All right, pattern, the repetition of a visual element or module in a regular and anticipated sequence. So over here on the right, we have this image of a woman. She's painting a pattern on this kind of wall. She's also wearing patterns. So patterns are really common. You've probably got them all over your clothes right now. They're in the carpet. They're all over the place. So just think about any sort of regular or anticipated pattern. These are module kind of triangles or diamonds that are repeating themselves. Okay. Similarities and differences between texture and pattern. So some images that we have on the right here, we have wood and burlap. Both of these are examples of texture and pattern. So there's a pattern because there's repeating lines in both of these, but if you brushed your hand over it, there would also be a texture as well. So sometimes they overlap, but not always. All right, actual and implied. There are two categories of artistic texture, tactile and visual. So what is tactile texture? It is the use of materials to create a surface that can be felt or touched. So tactile texture is anything that you can run your hands over and you can feel it. So right over here on the right, we have these stones. If we rubbed our hand over that piece, we would definitely feel those stones. It would feel like rubbing our hands on the beach or maybe sandpaper or something like that. But she's also laid them out in sort of a pattern, just so you know. So yeah. All right, tactile texture, collage. So that's what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be making some tactile texture collages. Now, collage by its nature is objects that are assembled to create a new image. So over here we see this piece where we have lots of paper that's been ripped up. Now with this one, if you rubbed your hand over, you would be able to feel it, but it's pretty flat because they're using paper. So for the assignment we're going to be working on today, you're going to be picking up big objects, things that have a lot of texture, but by its nature, collage is always a little tactile. All right, so we're going to move into this later in the week, but actual and implied. So there are two categories of artistic texture, tactile and visual. So visual texture. Visual texture is a two-dimensional illusion suggestive of tactile quality. So in this portrait of an artist by Vincent van Gogh, he is sort of known for creating really lush, really kind of like you can feel that air moving back there. It feels swirling. There's definitely like a texture to his hair and beard. It feels like if you could touch it, but really it's flat. It's just made through paint, and it just appears to have a lot of texture. All right, verisimilitude is the accuracy or faithfulness in depiction of representation. So in this piece called Rancho by Ed Ruscha, this is a really, really flat piece, but it looks to me like the hood of a really sleek car with like maple syrup writing out these words called Rancho, but it's not. It's a painting. So this is an example of a really kind of accurate depiction of something that looks like it has texture and is wet and has volume, but it is not. It's a really flat painting. Okay, so this kind of verisimilitude is an example of a trompe-l'oeil. So you guys have maybe heard of this. It's kind of a funny word that gets thrown around. So trompe-l'oeil is a French term meaning to fool the eye. The objects are in sharp focus and delineated with meticulous care to create an artwork that almost fools the viewer into believing that the images are actual objects. So this painting over here, called Flower Still Life with Curtain, has kind of this famous story that goes along with it. So the story is that there was a competition between the artists Zeuxis and Paraeus, and Zeuxis painted a bunch of grapes so luscious that real birds flew down to peck the painting. He was so confident that he won that when he saw Paraeus' painting, he said, "Okay, can you pull back the curtain so I could see it?" And then he realized that he had lost the competition, that the curtain in fact is not there, and that even he was fooled, that there was such verisimilitude, such accuracy and faithfulness to the painting of that curtain that he believed it was real. So to fool the eye, to fool the artist, to fool everyone into thinking this is really a three-dimensional object. Okay, so we're going to move into that later in the week, but just a little overview.